Hey everyone, James with TFB TV. I'm here in Austria as a guest of Black Trident with my buddy Wolfgang. Wolfgang and I are going to give you a rundown of the Austrian military sidearms over the years, starting with pre-World War II all the way up to present. You have a formal background in firearms. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So in Austria or in Europe, there is only one school you can go to if you want to study weapon systems engineering at the age of 14. So back then, when I was 14, I studied weapon systems engineering at a higher technical college in Verlach. It takes 5 years, and it's like a high school, but you do a lot with firearms. So you don't have any like maths tests, you have ballistic tests. Very technical, love firearms. Yeah, it's the perfect world.
I love it. You're our guy. Let's start with the Austrian horse tranquilizer pistol here. What is this?
Perfect. So we start now with the first pistol that is like, from a history time frame, we are still in the Austrian monarchy. And this year, this is the Steyr 1907. So this was the first pistol that ever got introduced to an army in a large scale. And here you also have the first safe action principle, so that you nowadays find in Glock pistols. Now, this firearm had a magazine capacity of 8 shots, but the interesting thing is, unlike the magazines you know from today where you load from the bottom, these here actually had clippers and they were top loading. There is no slide, as in you will see it on a pistol nowadays, but there was back here, you have this bolt that you pull back, you can see that the bolt stays back. On the side here, you have the release for the bolt, and this actually loads 1 round into the chamber.
This is a striker-fired gun.
Yes.
Which is really interesting. So
it is.
You should demo that for us real quick.
So I now leave the bolt to the front. Now, what you see here,
the back of the striker.
The back of the striker. And if I actually pull the trigger, it moves back until it releases.
So it's drop safe, you know, and it's like it reduces the chance of a negligent discharge.
Again, we're in the year 1907.
What caliber is this in?
This is an 8mm Steyr. This is a very uncommon round nowadays, so you won't.
It looks like a 9mm, but
it looks like
maybe, I don't know, like a millimeter
the
smaller.
The dimensions are different, totally. Yeah.
What's the performance like? Is it more powerful than a 380 or less powerful than a 9mm?
Less powerful than a 9mm.
How was this gun regarded? Was this considered a good gun, a bad gun, or just okay?
Back in the days, it was a good gun in terms of that it had a larger magazine capacity and it was also easy to handle. And of course, there are revolvers which are in general regarded to be very reliable, but also in terms of trigger weight and so on, this gun definitely had many advantages over the revolvers that were back there. But the main part was definitely the magazine capacity.
So this was an upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. We have here the 1912.
It says 1917 on it.
No, that's wrong. It's the model of 1912, but it's also go further and further to 16.
Oh, I see.
But it's the model of 1912.
All right. Just making sure I wasn't going to say anything dumb.
Yeah, sure.
Well, dumber than usual.
So this is also a gun made by Steyr, and it was 2 years before the World War this pistol was introduced. Now, there are still some familiar concepts that you saw on the other firearm. In comparison, you now have a moving slide, not just the bolt, but it's still top loading. So we're still in that kind of area. We also have a safety mechanism back here. And this was also in a very uncommon caliber, 9mm times 23. Okay. So the length of the shell was 23mm in comparison to 9 times 19.
So, I mean, that's a substantial upgrade there. You guys just couldn't make up your minds.
The capacity of this firearm is 8 shots.
The Steyr 1912, aka the Steyr Hahn, as in hammer, because this thing's hammer fired. I'm about to shoot this for the first time. Frankly, I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm worried I'm gonna break it. That's what the little tabs there are for, right there, right? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, to wreck it. That makes sense. Little press check here. All right, are we good to go hot? Well, it's hard to even say hot, so fucking cold here. All right, here we go, guys. Let's give it a shot. I mean, that was pleasant. I mean, how'd we do? How'd we do? See, flung one right here. Probably my first shot. And then, I mean, not so bad. Not so bad. If you see the sights on this thing, not exactly the most sophisticated.
And then this one also is hammer fired instead of striker.
Yes, exactly. This is also a big difference here. So back here, you see the hammer. Yeah, I think from the recoil, it feels super soft.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting this, and yeah, cool gun. Yeah.
And the round's like 380 size, and it's in a big honking gun. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, love it. I mean, more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
And then we move on from this to, and this surprised me, the next gun that the Austrian military shifted to was...
In 1911, we had the First World War from 1914 to 1918, and we then still used these two firearms, so the 07 and the 1912, until the Second World War. So the Second World War is not considered to be part of the Austrian handgun history of the armies because from 1938 we didn't have an army. But in 1955 it was time that we got our sovereignty back, and there was like the national independence that we pushed for. And back then the first firearms that we actually got were 1911s. And so 1911s in a big variety, so there were not just US but also from other countries, and chambered in 45. And the capacity of the magazines was between 7 to 8 depending on the model. Yeah, but this was actually the pistol that got out of service quicker than the next one I'm going to show you. The next pistol that I'm going to show you was in service from 1955 until 1980.
Oh, wow.
And that is actually P38.
Yeah.
Now, the P38, also a leftover of the Second World War, was actually issued so long to the Austrian army and the Austrian military until it fell apart.
Didn't even mean to send that last one. No Glock. Had a little bit of a... screw this, no shit. Had a failure to feed in that last one. Let's see how it shot. Okay, not so bad. So you can see, and the number 3 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they, not that great, not that bad. Again, you're looking at very rudimentary sights, but kind of similar to, not too far off from what we're using this day and age. Whatever, it's not bad. It's okay.
That was then the time when we actually, the Austrian military, the Austrian state, conducted a trial series with which probably the outcome changed a lot of our lives. The winner of the trial series was the P80, or as many people know it, the Glock 17. Now, in this trial, there were a lot of different pistol manufacturers handing in their handguns, so there was also 6 Sauer. I want to talk about now about the 2 Austrian companies that handed in their models. You all might know the Steyr AUG. It's probably your favorite rifle back there.
Everybody loves the dogs. Everybody loves it.
Yeah. The thing that Steyr handed in, this is actually the Steyr GB. Yeah. So it looks
terrible.
It looks funny, yeah.
Yeah.
And GB stands for gas blowback or gas brake system. From a manufacturing standpoint, this pistol is super interesting because here the whole grip module is made out of sheet metal, and you can also see it from the texture. The trigger guard, this is actually polymer. So from a technical perspective, it's very hard to actually combine all these different materials together.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. So here I have a dismounted one, and you can see back here the barrel is fixed, and what we have on here, this here is the slide, and it here you can see the gas ports, and the gas ports they actually there's a lot of common knowledge that people think, okay, the gas port actually, it delays the slide until it goes back, but that's not the case. It just slows it down in the rearward position, so that the recoil doesn't feel like it's punching you in the face.
Steyr GB, one of the ugliest guns I've ever shot. God, I feel ugly even holding this thing. Oh, see, it's no Glock, I'll tell you that much. Another one. Woo, Steyr, what is you doing? Okay, we're empty. Let's have a little peek down range. You know, look at this. Like, this is a reasonably accurate pistol. In fact, I mean, I hate to say it, stacking them. Do they make this in optics ready? Is there not?
So this was actually one of really the competitors of the firearm we all know and love.
Sure, of course.
The Glock 17 or P80. The originals, they were all stamped with the logo of the Austrian army, or in case of the Norwegian army, the Norwegian logo the logo of the Norwegian army. Texture, it's very different from the Glock 17 Gen 5 that we know today.
Yeah.
A very interesting piece of Austrian history.
Now, Wolfgang, tell me about the differences between the Steyr GB and the Glock 17. Why did the Glock win while the Steyr did?
Yeah. So in total, when the tests were conducted, there were over 20 different criteria why the Steyr GB didn't make it. So one of the main reasons was, of course, that with the system you have a lot more dirt inside of the system, and also the weight difference. You can feel it yourself. The Glock just feels way lighter. So really very, very noticeable lighter than the Steyr GB.
And what's the capacity on the Steyr?
The Steyr GB, I think it had a capacity of
18. It
18.
says. Yeah.
Yep.
So decent capacity, 18 plus 1.
Yep.
But it's just a big honking gun.
Yep.
Like this is
Totally,
a large, as you say in Austria, a big honking gun. Is it a bad gun? Is it?
It's very rare. So production of this firearm actually stopped in 1988, and it's really a collector's gun nowadays.
Have you fired this gun before?
I haven't yet personally, no.
We're going to today.
We're going to today, yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to that. So we moved to the Glock. You guys go with the P80, with the Glock 17. And now we have right here the newest iteration. You guys have stuck with the Glock for a long time. You were the first ones to adopt it.
Yes.
Gaston made it over here, your fellow countryman. Did a great job, made probably the best pistol of all time, and you guys have stuck with it since. So now...
Yeah, so now here I have a Glock 17 Gen 5, also in a very, very rare color. So this is like the one that is issued to the Austrian Jacked Commando, so the Austrian Special Operation Forces. Newest iteration, also here some modifications, of course, that you're always going to throw on there. This is not like a real service pistol that I have here, but this is like from a private collection. But very, very rare. There are only, I think it's sub 100 pieces that are out there of this firearm.
Wolfgang, I really appreciate the rundown, this historical rundown, but now I've got to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
Of all of these guns on the table, which one's your favorite and why?
I would think it would be the 1911, of course. I'm also a big 2011 fan, so yeah.
Jeez, here we go. I thought for sure you were going to be like, oh man, you know, Glock all the way, but then no, we got a boomer over here.
Yeah, so style-wise, 1911, 2011, but from reliability and everything that you can actually pimp through it, I think it's definitely the Glock. So
Wolfgang, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate the fact that you're an Austrian World War II boomer, 1911 guy. That's okay. We'll let it slide. Guys, thanks as usual for watching. Stay tuned. We're bringing you more from Austria and Black Trident.